Zip Code Day is celebrated annually on July 1st. With the rapid growth of urban areas and the increasing volume of mail in the 1930s, the United States Postal Service needed a more efficient way to manage and sort mail. During World War II in 1943, the postal zone system was introduced to improve mail sorting and delivery efficiency. The system was initially applied to large cities. Each large city was divided into zones. Addresses in these cities included the city name followed by zone number. As mail volume continued to grow, the postal zone system began to show its limitations. To address these issues, the USPS introduced the zip code system on July 1st, 1963. The zip code system expanded on the concept of postal zones, but applied it nationwide. To further improve efficiency, the USPS introduced zip plus 4 codes. This added a hyphen and 4 additional digits to the standard zip code. The extra digits help pinpoint a more specific location, such as a city block, apartment complex, or individual business. National Disco Day on July 2nd celebrates the vibrant and energetic music and dance style that became widely popular in the 1970s. Disco's early days were characterized by underground parties in New York City, particularly in the LGBTQ+ and African American communities. Clubs like The Loft, founded by David Mancuso, played a pivotal role in nurturing the disco scene. Early pioneers included Donna Summer, the Bee Gees, Gloria Gaynor, Chic, and KC and the Sunshine Band. These artists produced hit songs that defined the disco era. And because there are always assholes who put it upon themselves to dictate what the rest of the world should do. By the late 1970s, there was a backlash against disco. Events like the Disco Demolition Night in 1979, where disco records were publicly destroyed, symbolized this backlash. But despite the backlash, disco continued to influence other genres, leading to the development of house music, techno, and modern dance pop. Air Conditioning Appreciation Day on July 3rd recognizes the invention and impact of air conditioning, especially during the hot summer months when its benefits are most apparent. Willis Haviland Carrier, often called the father of air conditioning, invented the first modern air conditioning system in 1902. The first public venue to install air conditioning was the New Empire Theater in Montgomery, Alabama in 1917, followed by more theaters and cinemas. Frigidaire introduced a new spill system room cooler to the marketplace in 1929. General Electric's Frank Faust improved on this design, developing a self-contained room cooler, and General Electric ended up producing 32 similar prototypes from 1930 to 1931. The first widely available window air conditioning unit was developed by H. Schultz and J.Q. Sherman in 1931, although it remained a luxury for several decades. After World War II, the mass production of air conditioning units began, leading to lower costs and wider adoption. Air conditioning became more common in homes, offices, and automobiles. Alice in Wonderland Day celebrates the beloved story of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Charles Dodson, aka Lewis Carroll. On July 4th, 1862, Charles Dodson, an Oxford mathematician and logician, took a rowing trip on the River Thames with the 3 daughters of his friend, Henry Liddell. During the trip, Dodson entertained the girls with a fantastical story about a girl named Alice who falls down a rabbit hole into a whimsical world. Alice Liddell, the middle daughter, was particularly taken with the story and asked Dodson to write it down for her. Dodson began writing the story down, expanding and refining it. He completed the manuscript titled Alice's Adventures Underground in 1864 and presented it to Alice Liddell. Encouraged by friends and recognizing the story's potential, Dodson revised and expanded the manuscript for publication. He enlisted the help of illustrator John Tenniel to provide the iconic illustrations. The book was published as Alice's Adventures in Wonderland on November 26th of 1865 under the synonym Lewis Carroll. It was an immediate success. National Graham Cracker Day is celebrated on July 5th each year to honor the creation of the graham cracker, a popular and versatile snack. The graham cracker was invented in the early 19th century by Reverend Sylvester Graham, a Presbyterian minister and dietary reformer. Graham was a proponent of the temperance movement and an advocate for a vegetarian diet high in fiber and whole grains. Graham's dietary beliefs were part of a larger movement known as the Graham Diet. He believed that a diet high in whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, along with abstaining from alcohol, meat, and spices, would lead to better health and moral purity. After Graham's death in 1851, his followers continued to promote his dietary ideas. Graham crackers began to be commercially produced, and over time they evolved from a simple bland cracker into the sweet version that is popular today. In the late 19th century, the National Biscuit Company, or Nabisco, started producing and marketing graham crackers on a larger scale, making them a staple in American households. International Cherry Pit Spitting Day is a quirky and fun event celebrated on the first Saturday of July each year. The day is dedicated to the unique skill and competitive sport of spitting cherry pits as far as possible. The tradition began in 1974 in Eau Claire, Michigan, at Tremendous Fruit Farm. The farm hosted the first annual cherry pit spitting competition, which quickly gained attention and became a yearly event. The competition has seen impressive feats, with some participants achieving remarkable distances.
My name is Rick Pellet Gun Kraus. I am the world champion cherry pit spitter. This will be my 40th year of competition, and I've been world champion 19 times.
As the competition gained traction, it began to attract media attention. Newspapers, television stations, and other media outlets covered the event, bringing it to a wider audience and increasing its popularity beyond Michigan. Celebrating International Cherry Pit Spitting Day can be a delightful way to enjoy summer, savor cherries, and engage in a bit of spirited competition. Build a Scarecrow Day is an annual event celebrated on the first Sunday of July, offering a fun and creative way for people to engage with a tradition rooted in agricultural history. Around 3,000 years ago, Egyptian farmers placed wooden frames in their wheat fields and covered them with nets. When birds landed on these frames, they would be caught in the nets, protecting the crops. In ancient Greece, farmers carved wooden figures to resemble Priapus, a god of fertility and horticulture. These figures were painted to look like humans and placed in vineyards to scare away birds. The Romans adopted the Greek custom, believing these statues not only frightened birds, but also brought fertility to the land. During the medieval period in Europe, scarecrows became more widespread. In England, young boys and girls known as bird scarers would patrol fields with bags of stones to chase away birds. As the Black Death reduced the population, farmers began creating straw-stuffed figures dressed in old clothes to stand in the fields in place of human bird scarers. Heary, heary. Town Crier Day is a celebration that honors the historical role of town criers, the official public announcers who played a crucial part in disseminating news before the advent of modern communication. Observed on the second Monday of July, this day pays tribute to the rich tradition of town crying and its impact on communities. In ancient Greece, heralds were used to make public announcements. Similar in medieval Europe, town criers were employed by towns and cities to announce important information, proclamations, and news to the public. During the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, town criers were often appointed by local authorities and would walk through the streets ringing a bell or blowing a horn to get the attention of townspeople before making their announcements. They would deliver news from the monarch, market days, and other vital information. Town criers were protected by law. Harming a town crier was considered a serious offense, sometimes even treason, as they were seen as representatives of the crown or local government. In the 19th century, the town crier's role began to decline with the advent of printed newspaper and other forms of mass communication. Don't put all your eggs in one omelet day on July 9th is a humorous take on the more common saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. This adage typically means to diversify your investments or efforts to mitigate risk. In this case, we shouldn't spread our resources across multiple projects or goals. The "don't put all your eggs in one basket" proverb first appeared in the novel Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes, published in early 1600s. In the book, a character advises it is the part of a wise man to keep himself today for tomorrow and not venture all his eggs in one basket. In the context of the day, we thought we had made the perfect omelet and went to flip it, and the onions and the mushrooms went all over the pan and made a mess. If we didn't use all our eggs the first go-round, we'd still have another chance to make a perfect omelet. If both the first and second omelet both suck, then I would suggest stop making omelets and try making something else when you get more eggs. Happy Don't Put All Your Eggs in One Omelet Day! Now I know what I'm gonna have for breakfast. We observe Global Energy Independence Day on July 10th yearly. It aims to raise awareness about the importance of alternative fuels. Fossil fuels are non-renewable and require a very long time, millions of years, to form. I believe we can all agree oil is not infinite. It's been calculated that if we continue at our current rate of production, it is estimated that all our fossil fuels will be depleted by 2060 beyond the inaccessible places like Antarctica, and some may be made so deep inside the Earth we can't even quantify it, let alone get to it. The reality of the situation is there is no definitive solution. In this country, many people on the left believe that the only way to achieve energy independence is to embrace renewable energy. Big negative factors are the lack of knowledge about how new energy sources would work and how much they will actually cost the consumer. People on the right seem to defy change, not dealing with the reality that we're going to run out and we need solutions. They seem very defiant in reaching these solutions while mocking the renewable energy we already have in place. National Swimming Pool Day on July 11th is dedicated to celebrating the enjoyment, health benefits, and safety of swimming pools. The Great Bath in Mohenjo-Daro, built around 2500 BCE, is one of the oldest public water tanks. The Romans were known for their elaborate bathhouses, which were a central part of social and cultural life. These baths included pools for swimming and relaxation. Swimming pools became popular in Britain in the mid-19th century. As early as 1837, 6 indoor pools with diving boards existed in London, England. The Maidstone Swimming Club in Maidstone, Kent, is believed to be the oldest surviving swimming club in Britain. Swimming became an Olympic sport in 1896 for men and in 1912 for women. The mid-20th century saw an increase in the construction of private residential pools, symbolizing leisure and status. Innovations in pool design, construction, and maintenance made pools more accessible and safer over time. National Motorcycle Day falls annually on July 12th and is a celebration dedicated to honoring motorcycles, the culture surrounding them, and the enthusiasts who ride them. 1817, the precursor to the motorcycle, was the Draisine, invented by Baron Karl von Drais. It was a human-powered two-wheeled vehicle. 1867, Sylvester H. Roper of Roxbury, Massachusetts, built a steam-powered bicycle, considered one of the earliest motorcycle prototypes. In 1885, the first gasoline-powered motorcycle was the Demir Wright wagon, built by Gottlieb Demir and Wilhelm Maybach. This machine had a wooden frame and a single-cylinder internal combustion engine. 1894, the German company Heidbrand and Wolfmiller became the first to mass-produce motorcycles. 1901, the Indian Motorcycle Manufacturing Company, founded by George M. Hendy and Carl Oscar Henstrom, began producing motorcycles in the United States.
Ours needs to be bigger, stronger, faster.
1903, Harley-Davidson was established by William S. Harley and Arthur Davidson in Milwaukee, Massachusetts. The early 1900s saw the introduction of various technical improvements, such as chain drive, electric starters, and multi-speed transmissions. During World War I, motorcycles were extensively used by armed forces for reconnaissance and communication. Harley-Davidson and Indian were major suppliers for the U.S. military. The 1920s and the 1930s saw the rise of motorcycle racing and sports. Brands like BMW and Norton gained prominence in racing circuits. After World War II, motorcycles became more affordable and accessible. The post-war era saw the rise of motorcycle clubs and a surge in popularity. Through the 1950s and the 1960s, Japanese manufacturers like Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, and Kawasaki entered the market, revolutionizing the industry with affordable, reliable, and high-performance motorcycles.
Happy Days is filmed before a live audience.
1959, the introduction of the Honda Super Cub marked a significant milestone in motorcycle history, becoming the best-selling motor vehicle of all time. Through the 1960s and the 1970s saw the emergence of distinct motorcycle subcultures such as the biker lifestyle in the United States and the mods and rockers in the UK. The late 20th and early 21st centuries saw the significant technological advancements including electric fuel injection, ABS brake, traction control, and advanced materials. The development of electric motorcycles with companies like Zero Motorcycles and Harley-Davidson with their Livewire model represents the latest frontier in motorcycle technology. Motorcycles continue to be culture icons representing freedom, rebellion, and adventure. They have been featured prominently in films, literature, and art, contributing to their enduring legacy in popular culture. Beans and Franks Day is celebrated on July 13th each year. This day encourages people to enjoy the simple and satisfying meal, often bringing back nostalgic memories for many. Beans have been a dietary staple for centuries, consumed by indigenous peoples in the Americas long before European colonization. They were valued for their nutritional content and ease of storage. The origin of the hot dog or frankfurter can be traced back to Germany, where sausages were common food. German immigrants brought their sausage-making traditions to the United States in the 19th century. The combination of beans and franks likely emerged in the early 20th century, coinciding with the rise of convenience foods. Canned baked beans became popular in the late 1800s and early 1900s, and the addition of sliced hot dogs or sausages provided a simple, hearty meal. During World War II, beans and franks became even more popular due to their affordability and the ease of preparation. The dish was commonly served in school cafeterias and became a staple in American households. Let it all hang out on National Nude Day, celebrated on July 14th. It's a liberating observance that encourages people to embrace and enjoy their natural state of being. Early humans often lived nude or with minimal clothing, adapting to their environments and using body paint and ornaments for expression. Nudity was common in certain social and religious contexts, and it was depicted in art as a symbol of purity and beauty. During medieval Europe, nudity was generally frowned upon due to the influence of the Christian morality. The human body was seen as sinful and public nudity was rare. Social attitudes began to shift, particularly during the 1960s with the counterculture movement. Nudism or naturism became more accepted, advocating for the freedom to be nude in appropriate settings. Throughout history, nudity has been a powerful symbol of purity, freedom, vulnerability, and protest, reflecting the evolving relationship between human beings and their bodies. I Love Horses Day, celebrated on July 15th, is a special occasion dedicated to honoring and appreciating these magnificent animals. Horses have been companions to humans for thousands of years, serving in roles ranging from work horses and war horses to beloved pets and competitive athletes. Horses have a stay apparatus, which is a system of tendons and ligaments that allow the horses to lock their legs in position so they can relax without falling over. When not sleeping, horses also use this apparatus to rest while standing for long periods of time. Horses do spend a short amount of time each day laying down for deeper sleep. On average, horses sleep 2.5 hours per day. On average, horses live between 25 to 30 years, though some can live longer with proper care. Horses have excellent memories and can remember people and places even after long periods of time. Horses are herd animals and thrive on social interaction, often forming strong bonds with other horses and humans. I've heard of the term, but never knew exactly what they are. I mean, I know what corn is, and I know what a fritter is, so I suppose it's self-explanatory. Corn Fritters Day is celebrated on July 16th each year, honoring the delicious and versatile corn fritter. It's a day for people to enjoy making and eating corn fritters, exploring different recipes, and sharing them with friends and family. Corn fritters are believed to have originated in the southern United States, where corn is a staple ingredient. They are also influenced by Native American and early European settler cuisine. Traditional corn fritters are made from a batter of corn kernels, flour, eggs, milk, and baking powder, and then fried until golden brown. They can be sweet or savory depending on the ingredients and regional preferences. In the southern United States, corn fritters are often featured at fairs, festivals, and community gatherings. They remain a beloved comfort food, symbolizing home-cooked goodness and southern hospitality. Probably why I never had one or seen one, because I'm from New York. The old slogan used to be $1 and a dream. You best dream big on National Lottery Day, celebrated annually on July 17th. The earliest recorded lottery dates back to the Han Dynasty. These lotteries were used to finance major government projects, including the construction of the Great Wall of China. Lotteries played a significant role in colonial America, where they were used to finance colleges, roads, bridges, and other public projects. During the American Revolution, the Continental Congress used lotteries to raise funds for the colonial army. The cannons used during the American Revolution from 1775 to 1783 were paid for by the support of lotteries. Lotteries faced increasing opposition in the 19th century due to corruption and moral concerns. By the end of that century, most states had banned lotteries. In the 20th century, lotteries experienced a revival. The first modern government-run U.S. lottery was established in Puerto Rico in 1934, followed by New Hampshire in 1964, and eventually everywhere. Insurance Nerd Day was first celebrated on July 18th of 2016. The day was created by Pioneer State Mutual Insurance Company, an insurance provider based in Flint, Michigan. Merchants in Babylon and China around the 3rd millennium BCE developed early forms of insurance to protect against the loss of cargo. Greek and Roman societies developed rudimentary forms of life and health insurance for their citizens and soldiers, providing financial support for such things as funerals. The earliest known marine insurance contract dates back to 1347 in Genoa, Italy. These contracts provided financial protection for ship owners and merchants against the risks of sea voyages. Lloyd's of London, established in the late 17th century, became a major hub for marine insurance. The Great Fire of London highlighted the need for fire insurance. In response, the first fire insurance company, the Fire Office, was established in 1681 by Nicholas Barbon. The first life insurance company, the Amicable Society for a Perpetual Assurance Office, was founded in London in 1706. National Daiquiri Day is celebrated on July 19th each year. The daiquiri was invented in the early 20th century in the town of Daiquiri, near Santiago, Cuba. It is attributed to an American engineer named Jennings Cox, who mixed lime juice, sugar, and rum to create a refreshing drink. The drink remained relatively obscure until a U.S. Navy medical officer named Lucius W. Johnson encountered it while stationed in Cuba. Johnson introduced the daiquiri to the Army and Navy Club in Washington, D.C., which helped popularize it in the United States. During the Prohibition era, Americans traveled to Cuba, where alcohol was still legal. This led to a surge in the popularity of Cuban cocktails, including the daiquiri. Ernest Hemingway frequented El Floridita, a bar in Havana, where he enjoyed a variation of the daiquiri. His version, known as the Hemingway daiquiri or Papadoble, included grapefruit juice and maraschino liquor with a reduced amount of sugar. Fortune Cookie Day is celebrated annually on July 20th. Between the 1880s and the early 1900s, Japanese immigrants began arriving in California and Hawaii, bringing the forerunners to fortune cookies with them. A Japanese immigrant and baker, Makoto Hagawara, is often credited with serving the first modern fortune cookies at the Japanese Tea Garden in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park around 1914. The cookies were modeled after Japanese rice wafers that contained notes in them. Fortune cookies gained widespread popularity in the United States during and after World War II. Japanese Americans who were interned during the war lost many of their businesses. Chinese Americans took over the production of fortune cookies, leading to their strong association with Chinese cuisine in the U.S. The mass production of fortune cookies were revolutionized in the 1960s with the invention of machines that could automate the folding process, significantly increasing production and capacity and distribution. Invite an Alien to Live With You Day on July 21st involves curiosity about extraterrestrial life and the possibilities of intergalactic relationships to the extent of living with them, kind of like this.
Hold this, Willie.
What is it?
Oh, that's just nuclear waste from my spaceship.
I am Mork from Mork, sent by my superiors to observe your primitive civilization and report back. Nanu Nanu.
I don't even know your real name.
It is.
Oh my God! I'm gorgeous!
My friends call me.
You almost got us killed! You said you watched me. You said you knew the
I
rules.
watched you very carefully. Red light stop, green light go, yellow light go, very fast.
Maybe we should just stick with Harry.
Hammock Day rests on July 22nd each year and is dedicated to the enjoyment and relaxation that comes with lounging in a hammock. Over 1,000 years ago, hammocks were first developed by indigenous peoples in Central and South America. The word hammock comes from a Taona culture, with early hammocks made from the bark of the hammock tree or woven from sisal fibers. Spanish colonists were introduced to hammocks by the indigenous people and brought them back to Europe, from where they spread to other parts of the world. They were particularly popular with sailors who used them on ships to save space and provide a comfortable sleeping arrangement. In contemporary times, hammocks have transcended their practical origins to become a symbol of leisure and relaxation. They are widely used in gardens, patios, and on camping trips. Modern hammocks are made from various materials, including cotton, nylon, and polyester, and come in many styles, such as rope hammocks, fabric hammocks, and hammock chairs. Hammocks everywhere! Have a ham sandwich or a hamburger on your hammock on Hammock Day. Let's talk about National Sprinkle Day on July 23rd. It's a celebration dedicated to the colorful, tiny confections that add a touch of fun and sweetness to your desserts. The first known use of sprinkles dates back to the 18th century in France. Nonpareils, which means without equal in French, were tiny round sugar decorations. In the early 20th century, a type of sprinkle known as jimmies was created. The exact origin of the name jimmies is debated, but it is widely attributed to the Just Born Candy Company, which claims that jimmies were named after an employee, James Bartholomew, who operated the machine that made them. In Italy, a similar product known as vermicelli, meaning little worms, was used. The Dutch have hagelslag, which are larger chocolate sprinkles, often used on bread. In the United Kingdom and Australia, sprinkles are often called hundreds and thousands. In the US, the term sprinkles is commonly used, with jimmies being a regional term in the Northeast. I don't know, I live in the Northeast and never heard of them called jimmies until doing this video. 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor. National Tequila Day is celebrated annually on July 24th. It's a day to enjoy and appreciate tequila, a popular Mexican spirit made from the blue agave plant, who brewed a fermented drink called pulque from the sap of the agave plant. Well, pulque is not tequila, it's a precursor to the spirit. When Spanish explorers arrived in Mexico in the 16th century, they found that the indigenous people were already using the agave plant for alcoholic beverages. The Spaniards began distilling agave to create a stronger alcoholic drink, which eventually evolved into what we now recognize as tequila. The town of Tequila in Jalisco, Mexico is considered the birthplace of tequila. By the late 1600s, distillation processes improved and tequila began to gain popularity. The first tequila distillery in Jalisco was established in the early 1800s and the spirit started to be exported. The production process has become more sophisticated and tequila is now a significant part of Mexico's culture and economic landscape. Merry-Go-Round Day is celebrated on July 25th each year. It's a fun day dedicated to appreciating and enjoying merry-go-rounds, also known as carousels. During the Middle Ages, merry-go-rounds were used as training devices for knights. These early carousels were often used to practice jousting and sword fighting. By the Renaissance, merry-go-rounds began to resemble the carousels we recognize today, with ornate decorations and the use of animals, primarily horses. These early versions were often hand-cranked and operated manually. The Industrial Revolution brought significant advancements in the design and production of carousels. The invention of steam power allowed for more elaborate and automated carousels. In the 1900s, carousels became a staple in amusement parks and fairs during this period. The mid-20th century saw a decline in the popularity of traditional carousels due to the rise of modern amusement park rides. There has been a resurgence of interest in historic and hand-carved carousels in recent decades, with many being restored and preserved in museums and amusement parks. Disability Independence Day commemorates the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, on July 26th of 1990. Before the ADA, people with disabilities faced widespread discrimination and were often excluded from various aspects of public life. Legislation such as the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 laid some groundwork for disability rights, but was limited in scope. The disability rights movement gained momentum in the 1960s and 1970s, driven by activists advocating for equal access and opportunities. Events like the 504 sit-in in 1977, where activists occupied federal buildings to protest for better implementation of the Rehabilitation Act, were pivotal in raising awareness. The ADA was introduced in Congress in 1988 and went through extensive debate and revision. On July 26th of 1990, President George H.W. Bush signed the ADA into law on the White House lawn. The signing was a historic event, celebrated as a major victory for the disability rights movement. Bagpipe Appreciation Day blows in on July 27th each year. The earliest evidence of bagpipes dates back to ancient civilizations. By the 10th century, they were popular in various regions, including Greece, Rome, and the Byzantine Empire. Never heard of the Byzantine Empire. These early European bagpipes were quite different from modern versions, but laid the groundwork for their development. In Scotland and Ireland, bagpipes became deeply ingrained in local culture and traditions. The Great Highland bagpipes, which are most commonly associated with Scotland, evolved during this period. During the Renaissance, bagpipes were widely used across Europe, including France, Spain, and Italy. Different regions developed their own styles. By the 17th and 18th centuries, bagpipes were prominent in military and ceremonial contexts. The 19th century saw a decline in the widespread use of bagpipes in favor of other instruments. Efforts to preserve and promote the tradition led to a revival. Organizations, bands, and festivals celebrated its cultural importance. Let's all get wet on National Water Park Day, celebrated on July 28th each year. It's a day to recognize and enjoy the fun and excitement of water parks, which offer a range of thrilling attractions like water slides, wave pools, lazy rivers, and everything that makes you wet. In the 1950s and 1960s, the idea of a dedicated water-based amusement park took shape. Early forms included simple pools and slides and recreational areas and community centers. The first modern water park in the United States is often considered to be Wet n' Wild in Orlando, Florida, which opened in 1977. Water parks began to gain popularity in the 1980s. Attractions became more elaborate, with features such as interactive water play areas, multi-person slides, and themed environments. The opening of the first indoor water park, the Great Wolf Lodge in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin, set a new trend for year-round water-based entertainment. Water parks have become a significant segment of the entertainment industry, with large resorts and destination water parks drawing visitors from around the world. National Lipstick Day is celebrated annually on July 29th. It's a day to appreciate and celebrate the art of lipstick and its role in beauty and fashion. The earliest evidence of lipstick use comes from ancient Mesopotamia. Women used crushed gemstones such as lapis lazuli and other natural pigments to color their lips. These early lip colors were often mixed with various oils or animal fats. Ancient Egyptians are well known for their use of cosmetics, including lipstick. They used ingredients like carmine derived from crushed cochineal insects, and coal, a black mineral, to adorn their lips and eyes. During the medieval period, the use of lipstick became less common in Europe. The use of cosmetics was often associated with immorality and vanity, and many women avoided using makeup. The Renaissance saw a revival in the use of cosmetics, including lipstick. Wealthy women used lip color made from natural pigments and beeswax. The appearance of a pale complexion was often preferred, so lip colors were typically muted. In the 19th century, lipstick became more accessible and began to gain popularity. Lipsticks were often made from tallow, which is animal fat, and colored with natural pigments. It was in 1884 when a French cosmetic company by the name of Guerlain manufactured what we would soon call commercial lipstick. They produced a lipstick made from deer tallow, beeswax, and castor oil, all wrapped up in a nice silk paper package. In 1923, Maurice Levy, a French perfumer, created a lipstick that could be applied directly from a tube, making it more practical and accessible. The early 20th century saw the rise of lipsticks as a symbol of empowerment and modernity. The post-World War II era brought a surge in lipstick use, with iconic figures like Marilyn Monroe popularizing bold red lips. The 1980s and 1990s saw vibrant colors and innovative packaging become popular. Lipstick continues to be a key component of beauty and fashion. The industry has seen trends towards inclusivity, with a focus on offering a wide range of shades.
Let's hug it out, bitch. Let's hug it out. Now get away from me.
And you can hug it out, bitch.
You want to hug it out?
No, not really.
Let's hug it out, bitch. Let's hug it out.
I know I've been changed.